Welcome to your Monday, September 29th, Power Hour meeting with just Carly and Clare Fulton today. Caitlin will come back next week, I think. And today is also Paige's birthday, if you want to embarrass her as well. So she's on mat leave and celebrating her birthday. So how was open houses? None of you that I'm looking at in person, because I have my list now in front of me from my broker Bay. Is anyone online that ran it? I kind of know who they are, so I'm going to call. Yeah. I know Patricia, Aaron, Tashia, Yassine, Kate, they all ran open houses Sunday. I think there was a little bit more on Saturday as well. So if no one pipes up online, I know of a listing that had 4 groups through on the Saturday and only 2 Sunday. That was Yassine's open house. Patricia had reversed, 2 on the Saturday, more on the Sunday, had 6 groups through. Aaron had about 5 on the Sunday. Tashia, I forget. If she's online, she can tell us. I know she did let me know, and I forget now. And then Kate did ours in Coburg, had about 6 groups through.
Is that 6 groups?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, and I'm surprised. That's our listing. I've only had about 3 showings, and no one's been asking me questions. But she had people through the open house, so I think it's still worth it to do it. 6, somebody got more than 2 at all these open houses. So.
She had 8.
Yeah, okay. I knew she had a good one. Yeah, that's good.
So what are you trying to sell in Coburg?
Bungalow, 3-bedroom, fully renovated. We did not list low, and you can see it's a lot slower. So if you have clients that are looking for the action right away, you should probably try the list low, even though we know we'll talk about the percentage of time that it works. Because if you don't do that strategy, it's a lot slower. Things take a lot longer, so you're not going to get that hype, which is okay, but just prep your clients for that.
What's your price?
We're at $949, which may actually be a bit high, but we bought it in a high market and renovated it. But we've got good motivation. We'll see what happens. We'll try the price. We have another one in Coldwater at $989. That is a less low, and we have over 35 showings. I've never had more feedback on a showing ever, on a listing ever. I don't know if people out there are very polite and professional, but every single showing is doing the Broker Bay feedback.
That's around Barrie, right?
Yes.
North Barrie.
It's so nice. I don't get that here in Toronto. I don't know what's wrong with us, if we're lazy or mean, but every single one is providing feedback. And they're very nice. That's good. We should help each other. We should be like that. We should do that here. When you get the feedback requests, respond to those. It helps us. Yeah.
Do you guys get when you have your sellers say to you, "What's the feedback?" and somebody shows the property, "What's the feedback?" and it's kind of embarrassing when you say, "I don't know," or nobody gets back to me, or whatever else.
Mm-hmm. It's true. I had to be "Oh, no feedback is the feedback." We've tried, but this is different.
You always have to set that off when you do the listing presentation itself, right? So that if you get one of those tough listings there and tough clients that want to know everything here, you got to tell them, but take the listing. Hey, look, we're going to send out the survey here, but not everybody fills it out. So if they're not filling out, they're basically telling us in a nice way they're moving on. So even though it's no reply tells you that they're moving on, right? So you might want to save yourself some grief there.
Yeah. Are people running buyers on the weekends, or is that happening in the evenings now during the week? What's the buyer availability? Seems like ours are kind of weekends, but
I was told last week that a lot of buyers are coming out of the woodwork right now.
They are coming. They're just not.
Let's feel that. I'm looking. I can see a couple of head shakes here and that, but do you think the interest rates made any difference, or?
I actually think it gave more confidence to sellers.
Oh,
I think so too.
I think people are pulling it.
I think it heightened the RECO a little bit almost, right? I feel like
so rather than the properties being cheaper for the buyers, it's the sellers saying, well, now they can pay more because they can afford more, right?
That's the kind of sentiment I'm seeing as well.
We're supposed to do an offer day today, pull it, because they're like, no, I'm not getting the interest. We'll come back in spring.
And the buyers are laughing at them, being like, haha, we'll just wait for another one then. Don't worry, because they're not in a rush. So.
No, but we saw 12, and I know one of them, we picked 2, and one of them was a good one, and she wants to wait now. So
she wants to wait as well. Okay, I wrote something down here. I'll read that. See if I can read this article here.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels busier, but they're not in a rush. They're just seeing. Even the sellers are not really in a rush either. Everyone's just kind of seeing what happens.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyone online comment about anything open houses? No. Yeah, so you can get into stats if you want, or you can go through our soap opera stuff first.
Do the soap opera stuff first.
You guys keeping up with the soap opera? The days of our
the iPro stuff in that. It's funny how it goes. I mean, they came out with an article on Friday, right? Was it Friday the article came out?
I think so. Yeah. 24th, maybe just before. Yeah.
And one of the owners there decided that he would write a letter to the Toronto Star
Against the advice of his lawyer.
against the advice of his lawyer to tell him what his side of the story was. And I'm thinking, oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'm curious to see what his side of the story was. And I just took some excerpts out here. He says here that he did not deny that the funds from his brokerage trust were withdrawn. But he says here, this is what
I was going to ask you about this, yeah.
He says that iPro Realty isn't the only broker dipping into its trust to pay its bill. He says he sent the statements against the advice of his lawyer. Why would he have that opinion? And I remember somebody telling me years ago that drug addicts or people that do, I don't know, steal cars, whatever they do. In their mind, everybody does that. Everybody steals cars. Everybody does this. Everybody in their world. Yes. It's quite normal, but unfortunately their world is just one little small section of the big world, and the big world doesn't think that. I don't know why this guy even thinks that other people do it.
That's how they think.
Unless he's justifying in his brain thinking other people do it, I can do it too, right?
Well, even that Netflix show on that mom catfish, she goes, well, everybody does this, harasses their kids. I just got caught. So and that's how their brains are wired.
Everybody else's do. I just.
But this statement is crazy and not true.
Yeah, and then it goes on to say, we acknowledge that the practice, he says this practice, but this practice represents a vulnerability in the system, says this Alvarez guy. It reflects an area where RECO should consider regulatory reform phased in over time rather than immediately, as that would cause the collapse of hundreds of brokers. So now he's blaming RECO for what he did.
Yeah.
He's saying it's RECO's fault because they weren't paying attention to me, that they caused me to steal all this money.
And
what do they call that? It's a word for it. Gaslighting?
Yeah, like
I don't know. Isn't gaslighting like somebody does you dirt? Like I don't know. But somebody beats you up, and it's not
their fault.
You beat somebody else up, and it's their fault because they let you beat them up.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just really weird stuff.
But this is weird too. He says, while RECO does not support this practice, it is not prohibited under its current regulations.
Same
what?
thing. So this fellow here used to work for RECO, he was on the RECO board of directors. He should have read the Trust in Real Estate Act. You know that it's against the law what he did. You're not allowed to take money from the trust account and put it in your general account. You're not allowed to have 2 trust accounts.
But don't worry, he didn't use it for his renovations, guys. Don't worry. It wasn't for his personal gain. It was just to operate the business and pay your commissions. But don't worry, it wasn't for renovations, so.
So what he was doing at both of them there, they were borrowing money to pay for all the expansions that we're doing. They weren't using their money, they were using bank money. So when it came time to collect money, then they had to do something there. And I wonder if the bank lent the money or whether it was...
I think managers lent the money, I think they had a lot of loans all over. I think they thought the market was going to go back. I know, there's so much we can say.
There's so much I could say, but we're on YouTube. I just kind of wonder whether there's some kind of... I don't know, loan sharks or something. I don't know, because why would you risk your whole thing just to pay these people out? But anyways, and bottom line is I don't think that the consumers are be hurt. We said that before, because the money goes in the real estate trust account. The deal closes, it goes in the commission trust account. It doesn't belong to the consumer anymore. So I think that's fine. I think the only people that might be hurt would be the realtors that work for iPro. Lucky in our office, we only had one deal that we sold of theirs. They sold a bunch of ours, so I'm not sure how that's going to shake out.
Yep.
But anyways, that's behind us, and it's signed the times, and the market's tough right now.
Yeah, and the consumers might not be paying attention, but agents should be and might be, and they had 17 offices within a span of how many years?
Yeah.
So pay attention. There's cost money to open offices. There's rent and payroll and staffing and security and utilities, and do the math. If you're a discount brokerage contributing X amount to your brokerage and then you're expanding like this, something's going to go wrong, and you're going to see it happen in our industry now. So just pay attention.
It's interesting. What else? Stats? You want to do stats now or later?
I think no.
Okay, so what's 30 days? So tomorrow was the last day, right?
Yeah, this month flew by again. Totally. Short month, I guess.
When did we change the time? When did change?
November 2nd.
Not till November, okay. And when's Thanksgiving?
October 13, 14?
Middle of October, so we still have a couple more weeks left, right? Okay, good. All right, so for September 28th, I mean, it's actually doing a little bit better than September last year. So September last year, I think we said did what, 5,000 deals last September?
5,300 or so, I can find out.
52, you got it there?
I have it. Not in my brain.
We'll have a race. I want to say 52 something.
51, 55.
Yeah, so 52, okay, that's fine. Take 5,000 times 12, that's 60,000. 60,000. So if Toronto Real Estate Board did 60,000 sales in 1 year, would that be good or bad?
Bad.
Bad, right? What do you think the worst part? The worst was when? Is that there again? About 73,000 was the worst
73?
In a year?
in a year.
I thought we still hit like 60s last year.
Half of a 60 at home.
Oh, I don't have a. Oh yeah, 70,000 for 2024.
70,024.
70, doesn't it?
69,000 in 23. So 2023 was the least amount at almost 70,000.
Which for comparison is around.
So we're about the same, I think.
2019 was 94, and then yeah, you don't really see those numbers till
Yeah,
2009.
that's okay.
Yeah.
So we're sitting with 30,633 active listings. There's 18,000 that are freeholds and 12,000 are condos. So that's different a little bit. So looks like the freeholds are starting to come back a little bit. Vacant, 33% of those properties are vacant. On the freehold side, there's 27. On the condo side, 42% of condominiums are all vacant right now. Sales for the first 28 days in September, I've got about 5,004. My numbers are very general. Trev will have more refined numbers, probably a little bit less than my numbers, but still I got 5,004 for the first 28 days, and there's 4,600 last year, so we're 7% increase from last September. Not huge, but a little bit. So we did 5,200 last year, 8%, say 10%, so it could be about 58 or so. Sales for freeholds were up 8%, and condominiums up 5%. So we're hearing all the bad news about condominiums, but they're still holding their own from last year. Plus 5. Sales over 101%. 19% of the properties are selling over asking. 22% of those would be freeholds selling for over asking. 13% of condos are selling for over asking. Has anybody tried an offer date recently? Anybody here? No.
I'm about to soon.
Some Chad tried. Yeah. Anybody else? Nelson, you know anybody who's tried the?
We tried it, but the sellers are giving resistance with the low price.
Sellers don't want to try it.
Or don't want to try too low.
Well, they don't want to try too low.
Yeah.
They'll give
Yeah,
maybe
that's
like $50,000 less than
Yeah.
what they want. It should be at least 100 to
Yeah.
generate the activity.
Okay, so daily 179. If we project it, it should be about 5,400 sales for September. 1,800 would be condos, 3,500 would be freeholds. Projected months of inventory, about 5.7 months of inventory for freeholds, 5.1 for condos, 6.8 months of inventory. Everybody knows that means that overall 5.7 for every 5.7 listings, one's going to sell. So that's a strong thing to talk to your clients about, pricing being so important. If we compare it to the first 28 days in August, we're actually up 7% as well. So we're actually doing better in September than we did in August, which I suspect would do that anyways, because August would be, well, September's supposed to be the beginning of the fall market, right? I threw a number in here just to give me an idea what's going on. Days on the market of 100 days. So we've got 30,000 active listings. And properties have been on the market, days on the market over 100 days, 4,000. So almost a little more than 10% of the properties have been on the market more than 100 days. I did not do the council relist. If I do council relist, it'd probably be even higher than that for council relist. But these people have just let the market stay there on the market. Would you have had a listing? If you had a listing, would you let it stay on the market for 100 days without a change? Right. So I'm not sure what these guys are thinking, right? But it does tell us something there. But you got to think about that. Leases. There's only 16,000 active leases. 8,000 are freehold, 8,000 are condo. Vacant, 53% of the leases are vacant, which makes sense, I guess. And leases made are about 8,400 this year, 7,000 last year. So leases are actually up 20% for September. That number seem hard to believe for some people. Who's got properties that they're trying to lease it can't get leases? Is there anybody, or can't get them leased?
My downtown's going crazy.
Downtown is going crazy again.
6 offers after one day long.
We're also noticing a lot of people moving. like from rental to rental. Like they're taking the opportunity now to make a change, but there's a lot of movement.
It's because they're going to cheaper rents, or because
I think it's just different areas, going from maybe uptown to downtown, and like
people are getting mandated to go back downtown.
yeah, maybe.
Well, this is that they have been mandated, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, if I look at freeholds, they're actually up 17%, and condos are up 22%.
That kind of makes sense.
But compared to August, they're down 25%.
Yeah.
But August, as I said last week, August is more than likely it's the students that are moving in August for September, and that's why we have a big fall there. Right? That's
For us, we have a lot of leases coming up this week too, though, so it's a trend.
Is that right? So the market's, it's not booming, but it's it's fair. It's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening.
I'm reading it's not going to be as severe as the early 90s, so it's happening, like you said, right? It's not terrible, but it's not as bad as it was at some point.
I've got that article too. So.
Yeah, this is more related to the condo downturn. There's some things that were similar to that period, but there's a lot of things that are different, right, versus today. Right now we have a little bit more diverse, stable economy than we did in the 90s. We have different lending rules as well. But for sure the market's hurting, right? There's no doubt about that, especially for new condo starts and condos overall. Be careful with headlines too. So there's stuff going on about this on Instagram right now as well. But August reported a total sales of new condominium units of 118 units. So what some people in the media did was say the condo market is crashing. We only sold 100 units this month. But these are brand new pre-construction condo units, not the resale units that Claire just talked about. So be careful, right? So yes, it's a record low for new starts. It's still an overall low for condos, but it's not as low as 118 total in the GTA for condos being sold. Although still, it's a 9-year high for unsold units. So that's negative, right?
I heard that a developer was looking 400 units for sale. From the inside source, they only sold 2.
Yeah, a whole building, 14 units, only sold 2. Yeah. So they're struggling.
They're listed at high prices, still
Yeah.
high prices.
Yeah, because they're going to lose money. They're not going to build them if they're going to lose money. Like, no one's in that, So yeah, there's definitely a challenge for sure. But we have an overall stronger economy than we did in the 90s, so it's a little bit different. So we had in the 90s, Claire, you talk about this more maybe, but there was a steeper employment drop. It was crazy since the Great Depression. The Bank of Canada hiked interest rates to reduce inflation. But overall employment today, it's high, but it's not as bad as what you guys saw in the 90s as well. So overall, everyone's predicting more of a balanced market, like what you just said just now. It's not bad, it's not great, it's more balanced.
1990, it took 7 years to recover.
Yeah.
We call it 7 years of hell, right?
Yep.
Yes, and they said the same thing in that article. They're talking about 7 years in 1990. They don't expect it to be the same in this go around. They expect a rebound. But
We'll be talking about this in 20 years.
Yeah.
thing I want to talk about though is I've got all these articles here, and Carly, don't put that away just yet here.
Okay.
But I just did a thing here, and it talks about how long should Toronto's prospective condo buyers wait for the fire sale bargains? That's one article. Navigating Toronto's frozen pre-construction. Okay, they said pre-construction finally. Toronto's experiencing severe housing downturn. Only 118 new condos sell in August. I'm just reading the headlines here. Housing drought is coming. Only 118 new condos. GTA condo market is reminiscent of the 90s crash. New reports. So they give the impression they're talking about the entire market overall. All they're talking about is pre-construction. They're not talking about the resale market. They're not talking about resale condos. Every article is talking about builders and developers and selling new pre-construction.
But the consumer doesn't know that. Like if you check social media and you read the comments, they're like, yeah, condo market's crashing. That's time. Prices are going down. They were all excited about it. But we're like, no, guys. This doesn't apply to what you're seeing on MLS and the resale market.
So that's why it's important for you to be able to separate the two. Don't get confused with pre-construction, new condos with resales. Completely different. All right?
Yeah.
It's completely different. New report gives Toronto a failing grade when it comes to building housing. 22 greater Golden Horseshoe municipalities receive F for housing. Data in the housing market is bleak. So again, it's all new stuff. It's not existing inventory. How long should Toronto's prospective condo wait for the fire sale? They're saying here that for the fire sale bargains. Early this month, our housing minister labeled it a free fall, prompting potential buyers, developers, lenders, and realtors to ask one question: how long would it be? And it goes on. if you're among the potential buyers surveying Toronto's overbuilt condo market, understand you don't want to catch the falling knife. Here's a concise look at when the blade might finally switch, slicing through expectations. And I'm trying to wait for the magic button here. And it says here, it's as bad as we've seen it. Getting a showing is a win, let alone getting an offer. Consider the stats since 2022. Condo prices have dropped 20%. 20%. That's true. If condos dropped 20% since 2022?
More than
Probably more than, right? They're saying here, price per square foot has plunged 22.5% to $823,000. So $823,000. Now we're talking about resale. No, it can't be new, because what's new? They can't even build for that much.
It's all GTA?
All GTA, yeah. Condo sales are 90% below the 10-year average, so now they go back into resale. So the guys, he's mixing they're mixing it.
Yeah.
The for sale, the power sales are at multi-year highs. I'll talk about that. The glut of Toronto condo listings at all-time high. But it goes on and on, but you know what? Never tells you when. Like the whole purpose of the article is when it's going to end. They never actually come out and say it. So they don't actually say that.
they know how to complain.
That's right.
They know how to sell newspapers with headings, right? Demand evaporates as economic shifts. Investor appetite for traditionally fueled Toronto pre-construction market has largely evaporated. So again, this goes talking to pre-con. You guys probably can't see this, but you can sort of get the highlight of it. This is the pre-construction sales at the peak. The top bar there was in 2017, 2018. So those things were sold the most. When do you think those things are going to come to market? Like when they're going to be built? These things were built in 2017, 2018. You think they're probably built 2025? Mm-hmm. Finished, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of inventory. And then from there, you can see at the on the right side, the number of sales on the right side is almost zero. What a difference, eh? It's an amazing difference.
I feel so naive. I came into the business at that time, and you guys were begging me for pre-construction access and worksheets, and I was like spending time on weekends and evenings. Like, it was a crazy time. And to see where we are now, like, you probably were like, I told you so. It's crazy.
Now the builders are begging.
Now they're begging. Oh my gosh, the emails, like Saturday, Sunday emails from pre-construction open houses. And
don't you remember how arrogant everybody was? Well, I'm a platinum, I'm a gold, I'm a VIP, and all this stuff. Now they're
fine,
just
I'll do
begging.
it for 0.5%. Just get my client a unit. Like, we were begging.
Tell you what happened, just so I don't forget. There's still agents out there, and there's still people buying pre-construction or new homes.
Yes.
There's still agents out there pretending to be the builders.
Yes.
And we had one on the weekend, same thing. Somebody's sister got a hold of somebody that was advertising a townhouse in someplace, and turned out that, they wanted the brother to help them buy a house, but they got a hold of this agent somehow, and they got introduced, did a worksheet. Turned out that the agent's like you guys. He doesn't belong to the builder at all. He's just another agent just trying to get buyers. So it works, right? But we had to kill that. Were you involved in that one? No. I was. Okay.
That happens more than you think, though.
So what the government's trying to do, they're trying to for new houses, they're trying to rebate the GST, and now they're trying to say maybe the HST should be looked at as well, not just the federal portion, but the provincial portion, and see whether or not they can make things more affordable. Problem we have, I don't know. Somebody's telling me here at Allen Expressway in Eglinton, there's a whole bunch of condos being built. And what they're doing now with the old streets, they're ripping up the old streets and they're taking out the sewers that might be, I don't know, I'm guessing, I'm just making up stories here, but they took out the sewers that may be 24 inches wide to service all the existing houses on that street and where else. But now because of the condos, they've got to make it like a 5-foot pipe. So they talk about development charges being $100,000 per unit. This is what they're talking about. They've got to pay for all this infrastructure to be able to support those buildings. So I don't know how the people write stuff that, well, you got to get rid of development charges, or you got to reduce. I don't know how they can do that. It's taxpayers going to end up paying for someone else's house. That's what's going to happen. Somebody's got to pay for this infrastructure.
Yep.
And if they're trying to tell the municipalities not to not charge the developers, then somebody's going to pay for it. And it's going to be the taxpayer.
Yeah. The other thing that doesn't work for us, which is different than in places like the US for pre-construction. So in places like New York, a bank will lend on the project as its current state, and will give the financing to the developer, which lets you build it and make it and then sell it to the market as almost ready units as they start to build. Where here in Canada, we rely on individual consumers financing for them to purchase the building. So they can't even build or get permits until they sell a certain amount, which they need to get financing to get. So it's all backwards. And then they don't sell them because people can't go in and see them and touch them and feel them. So then they don't sell as well as they would being sort of half built at least. So there's a lot of things going wrong for us with pre-construction.
Mm-hmm. There's another builders out there. I think it's Daniels. I think Daniels built something like townhouses, stuff like that. They didn't do any pre-sales at all. They built the places and they sold them.
And they probably sold because people could go in and walk through them, but they would have had to do their own financing to do that. And that's a big builder that has the resources to do that.
Overseas finances, not Canadian.
I don't think as much as you think.
So this goes on. This is Royal Bank. They're forecasting, again, I'm going to show you a graph which you can't see too well here, but the blue part is the peak. That's the number of inventory that they're going to be having. So right now on the pre-construction side, there's about 20,000 units to be built or already built that'll be vacant that the builders have to get rid of. And then they got a little yellow line here saying about the sales, and they're saying that the sales are going to start to pick up in the pre-construction by the fourth quarter in 2025. I believe it. But they have to reduce the prices, don't they? Right? They have to reduce the prices because they're also saying that at $800 per square foot for resale condos, and the builders are trying to get $1,000, $1,100, or $1,200 for theirs, and why would somebody do that?
Yeah, it's not going to work.
Especially if they don't think the price is going to increase. So that's the problem these guys have. Toronto experiencing severe housing downturn. Only 118 new condos sold in August. Carly talked about that, and that's not much. Imagine that. And I was again in North Durham here on the weekend there, looking at Old Whites Road. You know that new Seaton area, Whites Road and Taunton North to between Highway 7 and Taunton. I didn't see anybody. I saw lots of land.
Yeah, but nothing's
Lots of bare land, but I didn't see any construction sites. I didn't see anybody doing anything. So I think they're all just waiting. All right. Housing drought is coming to Toronto. Home bills warrant 118. Now we got that. GTA housing reminiscence of the 90s crash. That's right. There's 7 years of hell, but they're saying that it's not going to be that in this case. I think that by forcing workers to go back downtown, I think that's going to eat up a lot of that small inventory. So if you're telling me it's busy for leases down there, I bet the same thing. I bet you people are, rather than selling their house that they bought up north, is rent something downtown. And that's where I see the 400 square foot, 500 square foot units. I see them. Yeah. What does a 400 square foot condo downtown sell for, or lease for? 1,800?
I just did a one bedroom with parking for 27.
But what about a studio? What about a studio with parking? I guess.
I think it's going to be like 24.
All right, so that much.
It's still wild actually downtown.
That's still tight.
If you're getting $2,400 for a studio with the parking, as an investor, you go buy one.
Yeah, seriously.
You know, because they got to be selling for $450.
And even these ones that are listed at like the 25 to 27.
Didn't we sell one in the Well recently?
Yeah, we did 6 something.
Well, I thought I was going to say 5 something. Okay, 6 something. Okay, good. So that's where I see the positive on the pre-side, on the pre-con.
Because we need those smaller units to move so that they can upgrade, and it keeps the chain going. Because right now I'm seeing a lot of upsizers that have something mid-range and they're kind of upgrading, but it's not allowing them the lower stuff to move up. So it's only really satisfying people that are in the market already.
And on the resale side, I believe that the quarter point discount is going to knock off some money there. It's going to make them qualify a little bit. So I think on the resale side, people just have to get more confident with their jobs. I think. So.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, what I'm reading is that there's lots of buyers coming out. They're feeling a little bit more comfortable, but they're still not in a rush. So they're doing showings, but they're very particular. They're looking for something that's perfect, move-in ready, done. Anything outside of that, they're happy to just hang out and wait. Yeah, no sense of urgency. They know prices are going down. They know interest rates are potentially coming down more. So they're happy to wait.
And they're also saying here that it's not just Toronto, it's Hamilton townhouses, it's Oshawa single detached, it's Kitchener duplexes, it's all across the Golden Horseshoe, where ground-oriented homes fell 42%. So It's happening everywhere.
Yeah, and then some surveys are showing 51% of first-time home buyers are actively searching, meaning they're looking up neighborhoods, they're on Realm, they're going out on showings, but 20% are only ready to buy in the next 12 months. So it really tells you they're starting to do their research, but they're not in a rush. Doesn't mean you have to keep servicing now and keep showing them value now. Stay in touch with them because they're going to do something. They're just not in a rush. You might want to have a good BRA to protect you for that time as well.
Is that the same article I did?
There was a couple of surveys that were done, and some of the articles kind of interweave them because I noticed that some of the stats change a little bit depending on the qualifiers. But yeah. Yeah, yours is the same.
Similar. So yeah, so again, they're talking about first-time buyers. The headline here just says here that the housing market is improving, but first-time buyers are waiting for the perfect time.
Yeah.
Who's running first-time buyers? Anybody here? First-time buyers right now?
Yeah.
And what are they? They're waiting for what?
One's actually pretty active.
But we've even gone through inspection stage, and something will come up, and they're like, nope, and they'll back out and move on. Then that's how not fussed they are.
Even if they don't accept, actually, I had one couple that they didn't. The seller ended up countering, and they're like, you know what? I don't feel a good vibe from them. So you know what?
Oh, really?
And
So that backfired.
agent ended up calling me last week. So that offer was like a month ago. They called me. They're like, hey, are you guys still looking? I'm like, yeah, but they're not really interested in me anymore.
So for those online, that's like the hindsight thing where the buyers got a bad vibe from the sellers because they weren't signing back. They weren't really negotiating in good faith. And then by the time the sellers were ready, our guys were over it. And they did reach out. They said, hey, are you willing to do it again? And we said, no, we put a bad taste in our mouth. We moved on.
It was an agent. It was selling
The seller was an agent as well, yes. Are we surprised?
So Sam just talked about something there, just to remind you guys that he's saying that the seller did an offer to the buyer. Just want you to think outside the box a little bit here, right? So if you got, maybe you're talking to some client and the buyer's on the fence. I don't know, the client wants to buy this, wants to buy that. They don't know. I mean, they've seen the property a couple of times. Maybe you have a seller's offer. Mm-hmm. Right? Hasn't happened very often, but it's something to think about, right? So this article is saying here that despite lower interest rates, more inventory, softening home prices in major cities, economic uncertainty is prompting many Canadian first-time home buyers to put their plans on hold. 20% of the buyers out there plan on buying the next 12 months.
So compared to 50% of people are motivated, they're ready to buy, they're actively looking, only 20% are going to do that in the next year.
Mm-hmm. So the lower interest rates, more people can qualify for a mortgage to buy the first home. So that's good, right? We know that. Still, many prospective buyers would rather see the prices bottom out than the mortgage rates being cheaper.
Yep.
And this is what you're saying here. Like the sellers think, well, I don't have to reduce my price because they reduced the interest rate, so therefore my price is okay.
Yeah.
And the buyers are saying, no, we'd rather see prices drop than the mortgages.
And they're right. Affordability is still a problem, so that makes sense.
Right. No one wants to buy the property, and their property 2 months later is worth less than what they paid for.
Yeah, they're just not ready for that, right?
Yeah.
Even though we know it's going to appreciate more over time, they're not willing to let their ego do that yet.
And apparently, many people are pre-approved for a mortgage and watching the market, waiting for something perfect. Mm-hmm. This is the type of market we wanted for a long time for buyers. We just didn't think there'd be so much uncertainty going around with it. So,
yeah,
interesting.
The other thing I'm reading, part of the survey, was that they're very clear on what they want. They know they want a detached house in a particular neighborhood with X amount of bedrooms and X backyard. Still 50% of first-time buyers want detached houses or some sort of townhouse versus a condo. So that's still going to be a problem, right? But they know exactly what they're looking for, and they're even willing to have a longer commute for the detached house. So that's where, when we talk about the housing crash and the starts, it's because of all the detached and freeholds that we're not building right now that's going to become an issue later. It's not because of the condos.
Power of sales. Apparently they've gone up quite a bit over the last little bit of time, and it's probably still less than 1%, but it's a little bit more than what it's been.
Well, this is another example. Be careful with headlines again. So I have competing articles on the same thing. So go ahead and read the scary one first, because it sounds scary. Great. Hits the latest record. Distressed listings in Toronto are distressed listings are Toronto real estate's hottest trend. Right? These are all part of the same article.
Yeah.
But tell them the number.
Yeah. So again, the article's going on like it's like the end of the world. August saw 149. How many listings did they say we had?
3,000.
So
So that represents
149 were power sales.
right? So yes, it's a record-breaking high, but it's still historically below averages of what we've seen for distressed sales as a history. They're not a new thing. And I like that they still use distressed and foreclosure, even though in the same articles they talk about how we don't use those languages. We use power of sales, right? They're very different terminology.
So if you're advertising for buyers and buyers saying that they want something that's cheaper, I would advertise some power sale listings there, even though we know that they don't sell for any less. Power sale, just for everybody here to know that power sales will sell for the value of the property. So if the property's physically distressed, then it's going to get the price that it's valued at.
Yeah, so the title still remains in the owner's name, but now the bank has full control over the sale of that home, and they're going to try to get as much money as they can within the market, right? So that's the benefit of the power of sale. They're going to sort of force it, but they're going to still get market value.
Does it go on MLS or is it?
Yeah, you can go on MLS. You'll be able to tell if the seller name is a bank, in trust. Usually brokerage remarks would say it as well, but it'll say seller with the lender's name.
Represented by a bank on MLS?
Yep.
Or is it an agent?
By an agent. The seller is the bank. Yeah, but agents represent
So
them.
as an agent, we can also build relationships with banks
Yes.
to try to get these power of sales,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, usually when we have a client at risk of power sale, we'll tell the agent, get a hold of the bank and build a relationship with them in case it does go power of sale. You can be the one to help facilitate the sale. And we're actually going to do a training with Jonathan Griffiths on power of sales. I think he's going to do another Mandarin lunch just because the topic seems to be coming up. So we'll do a little bit of a training on that as well. But I also wanted to share some things because this is a good way of thinking. We should call them mortgage defaults, right? Not distress sales. These are people that are risking not being able to pay their mortgage. So even though mortgage defaults are rising, they're still manageable. So 90-day defaults have increased from COVID eras, but they're still running behind historical lows. Okay, so that's good and bad news. This is something interesting though, which is negative for, again, they're calling it foreclosed properties, but power of sales. Is if they do sell under market value, that power sale does create some pressure in that neighborhood because that does create now the comparable for the neighborhood. So something my brain wasn't really thinking about because like we just said, the bank's trying to get as most as they can. Typically they're going to get market value, but what if it's a B lender or a private financer who just wants whatever they can get? They might offload it and that will affect your comparables in the neighborhood. So we have to be careful about that. So there is some negative effect to the increase of defaults because it is going to put some pressure on individual neighborhoods. Condos is a whole different story. The ones under 500 square feet, that they're calling it a horror show. So I think some of our back to work stuff is going to help fix that as well, but it's not going to get your investor market. It's going to get your renter market. We're not the only market, so Calgary's also experienced this as well. But they're saying it's not a panic. It's just something to pay attention to. It is increasing, but it's nothing unusual that we've seen before. So.
I think I got a call last week. Nelson confirmed that the banks are financing condos less than 500 square feet.
Yep.
They have to, right?
Somebody phoned me up and said that there's a bank that I think he was like 400 square feet or something there, and the bank wouldn't want to touch it because it's too
That's
small.
how it used to be, yeah.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah. No, you haven't heard that? Okay, so
480.
used to be a long time ago they wouldn't do anything that, but I think it's, whoever this lender was, they didn't want to lend it.
Yeah,
so.
it's more about the person's financial profile.
Insurance company, they're not insuring.
Insurance won't insure them. So how do you get a mortgage without insurance?
No, the property insurance.
How do you get a mortgage without property insurance? Right?
They do exist. They have to be. They exist. There's a whole bunch of them.
Might just been that lender, maybe that, I don't know.
Yeah.
So this is a question for Rand or a question for your mortgage broker in any case. So going,
Deal with the status certificate, not even the status, the lender wouldn't give financing because the reserve fund was depleted.
I've seen that before. I mean, there's lots of buildings in the city that have been red flagged.
Yeah, even though there's a legal limit for reserve funds, some are still not able to follow that, right? So yeah, lenders won't lend if there's not enough money in the reserve fund or they're not following the study properly.
Yeah, there's a couple of buildings
Yeah.
out there you can't get a CMHC mortgage. You still get a mortgage, but not CMHC.
That's why we do conditions on status certificate and
A
financing,
lot
right?
of buildings like that.
Yeah. I'm sure the older ones too.
So
mismanaged.
the older buildings
Yeah.
where a lot of board of directors didn't pay attention to the staff certificate.
I really should be a paid role to be on the board of directors for a condo. It should not be a volunteer role. Like yes, they have game because they own but only like 5 people in the whole building. Now you're responsible for the whole financial health of the corporation.
You have to have a property management company.
Yes, you do.
Monitor, and it's
Your engineer
controlled.
study. Yeah.
And you got to do these audits every couple of years.
Yeah, but the people facilitating this are people that live in the building. They could be everyday type people. These are not finance people or business people or.
And they might have their
So
own
you make
interests.
them count.
Sure, right? Yeah, it's interesting. So even though our prices are going down, us in British Columbia, which is good, we need the prices to come down, the rest of Canada is increasing. I don't know if you've talked to other agents or talked to people. We talked to a lot of people last week at the Jays game from all over Canada. Saskatchewan, they're at record-breaking high prices, low inventory.
That's where they're all going.
Calgary's starting to follow Toronto a little bit, though. They're starting to follow us just now. But Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, all the prices are increasing, and they have low inventory. And I'm also reading at the same time Canada's immigration, so EM, are migrating to other provinces. We're seeing a record-breaking people moving out of Canada, like Canadians moving out of Canada, but I wonder if they're going to other provinces as well. But that's good news for our other colleagues out there,
The
no?
average price on the other provinces.
So Saskatchewan, I should have brought my thing because we did a whole owner thing. I think their average price was $480,000. Right? Ours is 1.1.
People who they came into Ontario 40 years ago, 45 years ago, from let's say Saskatchewan or other provinces.
Yeah.
They move them back.
They're moving back. Yeah, I'm reading that. Overall Canada average price is $686, but that's all Canada. That's really hard to average that all together. But basically 8 of 10 provinces have hit all-time highs within the past year. So they're talking about very different things than what we're talking about here, which is good. You ready for bad news? We're sandwiching our articles. Can you tell? We're gonna save the best for last. Let me see what before we get into the last thing.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, I'm reading that population. Even though they had goals to halt it, apparently people actually leaving is not as much as they thought. Like, not everyone's leaving at the pace that they thought they would in terms of immigration. But our population is still standing at 41.65 million, which is still an increase from 2016. So I know they do have objectives to decrease that, but it's still quite strong. But I am reading, I don't know, have the stat in front of me now, but yeah, people are moving out of Canada. I don't know if you guys have clients that are doing that. I haven't personally had anyone move out of Canada, but are you guys seeing
I
that?
know one person.
Yeah.
I know one
Yeah, I
person.
have 3 family.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and they have work and jobs there, or what's their?
2 of them, they bought a business in Florida.
Okay,
Moved down
into the
here,
States,
and
yeah.
one moved to Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
They sold their property here and they bought 2 properties there.
Yep.
And they Airbnb one.
And the Airbnb is the income source, maybe, and then
So
yeah,
they live in one and the
Yeah.
Airbnb the other.
yeah, cool. Morale, you two clients
Yeah,
moving
they're getting jobs in the States.
in the States.
What about the IT guys that are getting laid off? Are they getting jobs in the States now too, or are they going back home?
We have clients that are going back home.
In U.S., IT jobs are limited as well.
Yeah.
I have nephews over there. They want to change their job. They're getting interviews, but they don't get paid as much as they would expect. So basically, both of them, they're engineers, and these are senior engineers.
Yeah. Yeah. Boy. I've heard that the AI's taking care of a lot of coding people too, right? I'm not sure if they code or not, but
Programming.
Go ahead.
yeah, program. I'm ready to get into it now.
Yep, me too.
Okay, so just discipline stuff or legislation stuff or whatever else. So we got a complaint last week. It's not a minor complaint, but just so you know what's going on out there. So you have to make sure that you're paying attention. This person here had an appointment to see, looks like it was probably your rental unit. I'm not sure that person ever phoned you back or not, Nelson. I know you left a message.
Voicemail.
So one of the agents had a showing, and it doesn't seem like much, but the showing was between 4:15. Yeah, the showing started at 4:15. And apparently, according to this person, I don't necessarily believe it, but I'm just going to read what it says here. Saying apparently she was a woman. Okay, so that cuts out half you. I tried to say that. Anyways, unlocked the door and opened the door without knocking first. Completely appropriate, but they showed up 15 minutes early. So this is a RECO complaint.
That's the issue?
Yep.
It sounds like you're being professional, right? I used to do that. Should go up a little early, prep, turn the lights on, get it all ready for the client. No.
And what they were saying here is that they were expecting them to show up at 4 o'clock, and they were in their bedroom changing when the door opened and this person walked in their house.
This is why I always say hello.
It was 15 minutes early.
Knock.
And didn't knock.
Hello.
Now I go to the agent and they'll say, of course I knocked. So I don't know. I'm not saying who did what here, but 15 minutes early, I don't know. We had another complaint, and I can see this is totally innocent, but the client doesn't know it's innocent. They booked the appointment on Broker Bay. What's today's date? 28th?
29th.
29th. So they wanted to book the appointment for the 29th, but somehow on the when they booked the appointment, it was the 7th, like a week later. So the guy showed up. According to them, they're expecting him to show up a week from now, and he showed up today. So it was a week early, but not only a week early, he was also an hour early. So we had a good excuse for the week because it was a mistake, but for the hour before the time, we don't have an excuse for that. So I can see very easy when you're booking appointments, I can see that happening, right? But
What would you do if the agent is making an appointment and cancels twice, and it's 3 days prior to that, to showing, and on the day of showings, it appears over there he wants to show the property?
Like they book another request?
No,
They just show up?
just they show up.
They don't have an appointment.
I have to have an appointment. So
The property was vacant,
So this
they have
time,
lockbox.
so this time next year, more than likely, we're going to have electronic lockboxes. So these things aren't going to happen. But anyways, we'll deal with that as happening.
Something very scary happened to me last week. I had a virtual showing, so I was by myself. So the lockbox was in the stairway in a condo. I went there, the door closed. There was no, nothing about that this door
It
is gonna
locks.
lock.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't find the lockbox. It was not there.
Yes.
And I was trying to call. I stuck there. I called. Nobody's answered.
You might have not even had service, depending on the stairwell,
Yeah, exactly.
too.
And then finally I got someone, they couldn't hear me, so I didn't know what to do. Like,
Yeah.
Put a shoe in the door.
I have a couple tips. So this is a little off this is a tangent, but this is a PSA for all of our not new agents. This happens all the time. If you're showing a condo, sometimes the lockbox is in a stairwell. Most of those stairwells are firewall proof, which means the doors lock on the inside. So carry business cards with you. You can put it inside the door to let the door open. A magnet, a shoe, you might ruin your shoe, but an object, your purse, something. If you have a listing in that situation, put it in the brokerage remarks to help each other out, because you shouldn't be surprised, but that does happen in condos, even underground, stairwells, lots of doors locked behind
and it
you.
was in the 30th floor.
Yes, of course.
So the only way you go, you got to go all the way down and go at the
They'll
exit?
have certain floors that are cross floors.
We could understand each other, and they said if you go to, like, I don't know, 5 floors down, one of the doors you can.
Yeah.
So I was coming down and.
They're called crossover floors, so every like third or something will be open, but you wouldn't know that unless you like walked up and down.
Ask the
It's
client to follow you and hold the door.
sometimes yeah, she was by herself doing a virtual showing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes with clients I said hold the door. Yeah,
I'm actually holding the door, yes.
that happens. I'm sorry that happened to you.
I'm sorry, what's a virtual showing?
A preview, like you're doing a video for your client overseas or something.
okay.
It's like an agent preview.
So, and I tell you, people are looking for trouble. So if you think 15 minutes, who cares? But
It's
some
kind of our
peop-
world now, I
For
think.
some people, it's the end of the world. And I got like a big long thing. Anyways.
Yeah. Cool. Compliance.
Okay, so when we type offers for you guys, or if you type offers yourself, but in particular, if we type offers for you guys, we give you the offer, and we also give you the package with all your Fintrac and privacy policies and lockbox policies and blah, 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 right? We don't give you those forms because we want to create more work. We give you those forms because it's required by law. And I had people come to me and say, well, what are you filling this out for? For instance, a receipt of funds. Let's say you're representing a buyer. Why should I fill out a receipt of funds when I have a photocopy of the receipt? Or why should I fill out the receipt of funds if I have a copy of the check? Because that's the law. I mean, the law doesn't say, give me a copy of your check. The law says, who gave you the check?
And when?
When did they give you the check?
And what was it for?
Is it a bank draft? Is it a check? Is it a wire transfer? They've asked all these specific questions, which a photocopy of a check or a deposit doesn't tell us. All right? So it's critically important. The other thing is, what else? BRA, which I think most people do the BRA. The information guide, for some reason, I don't know. Information guide. Is everybody okay with the information guide? It's we do it because we. Why? Why do we do the information guide? Because it's the law. I don't want to do it. I don't want the paperwork to do it. I don't want to do it. I couldn't care, but it's the law, right? And what happens with the law? People come in and they check on things, and here we are today.
Somebody came knocking on our door last week, and they're going to come in and check on some things.
So we have a Fintrac audit, and what they've asked me for is a copy. I have to confirm this. All the deals we've done from April, all the deals, every deal we've done from April to September, they want to see it. And then they're going to ask, they're going to pick out, I'm sure they're going to pick out a bunch of them, and they're going to ask for what those forms I just talked about. So
Particularly, they're going to be asking for a receipt of funds and Fintrac. So receipt of funds is when you're on the tenant or the buyer side and you're confirming the exchange of money. We'll do some more training on it, but I just want to call out while I'm talking about the receipt of funds, the one thing that we seem to forget is putting the brokerage's account information on the second page and your client's account information. So it's asking for any accounts that were affected by the deposit, which would be the brokerage's account that it's going into and your client's account that it's coming out of. You may once in a while get this thing, well, I'm not giving you my account. Why would I give you that information? So you have to notify that somewhere, but this section does need to be filled out, and they're going to be looking for that.
Well, the check doesn't provide already the account number is there.
They don't care that the check has that information, but they want us to use that information and put it on the
what
form.
I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
It has to-
Yeah. Sometimes, though, the receipt, like you'll get a bank receipt that has it all crossed out and has the last four. We're technically supposed to ask our clients for the full account information. Not everyone's going to give that to
And
you.
you're going to say to me, well, we don't know the account information. Well, yes, you do, because if you're doing a wire transfer, they send you the wire transfer information,
It's right on there, right?
right?
Yeah. So if you maybe forgot to send this to us, I know most of you are doing your Fintrac and receipt of funds. Maybe you forgot to give it to us, or maybe we missed it. Sometimes we're not perfect either. We get maybe 500 emails a day. We do miss things. Now's your chance to go into your SkySlope account. If you don't have an account, let me know. We'll do some training with you. But you all have a SkySlope account that you can log in directly to and see all of your deals, especially from this year. Go double check that your Fintrac is loaded there, it's been approved, and double check that the receipt of funds is there. And if it's not, upload it there. I'll get a notification that I can go in and audit it. And if you need any help with SkySlope or any of the forms, let us know. But now's a great chance to do a self-audit of your own things just to make sure that we're prepared for when we get audited soon. So Fintrac is another form. Most of us are really good at it. The only thing I'd say people forget is with occupation. They forget to be detailed with that. We can't just say manager. It has to be manager at XX company or consultant. It has to be really detailed. And then we also forget to do the new point checklist system. But we're going to go do a full Fintrac training on Wednesday. Caitlin did say it was mandatory in that email, so please try your best to come to that session. It will be recorded. If you cannot come to that session, we're going to ask everybody to do the CREA online Fintrac course, which is like a 7 sort of session course, which honestly everyone should just do anyways. I'll send you the link to that. It's an actual module program on Fintrac. It's better information than me telling you, but we'll do an online session Wednesday, and I'm going to recommend that you do the CREA training as well. And then in the meantime, we're going to be pulling files and looking at stuff and auditing, and yeah, we'll call some stuff out.
No, we've got this thing on Wednesday, so this fellow's going to be talking about Fintrac. We hired some guy to do a webinar.
This is not as a result of the audit, by the way. We've had this planned for 2 months.
This is the point I want to make out.
Yeah.
We got the call on Friday about a Fintrac audit, but we already did this thing for Wednesday. We did that months ago.
Yeah, because they're making some changes this year that we should all be aware about. So that was part of the training, was just a refresher from changes that happened in March, and just a refresher for the forms. But yeah, we did have that planned already. So this person, by the way, is not a member of CREA or from Fintrac. So not everything he says is going to be exactly perfect. Fintrac has their own set of rules, and they really have their own set of sort of boundaries that CREA tries to interpret, OREA tries to interpret. We all try to interpret, but really the law is the law, and they're going to have their own set of requirements as well. So Claire's being polite in your form submissions, but we are going to be a bit strict with those 2 forms, especially going forward as well. If we don't have them, we may have to hold back pay and stuff until we get them. But I know everyone is good at doing it. Like I said, just do an audit, and if you think you might have missed it, or maybe we missed it as well, just get it up in the sky slope.
So in particular, on the
Yeah, this is the one we...
on the Fintrac form, there's that questionnaire.
This is the new thing. This only happened as of last year. So this is new, but it seems daunting, right? It's a lot of numbers and words and...
So I've got people that did a good job and they filled out the first part, but then they left this part out.
Yeah. That part, and for some reason, the last check mark where it says what type of property, that one never gets checked off, or I shouldn't say never, it just gets missed sometimes.
And the business. So the first question here, prior to this transaction, did you previously work with this client and have a personal relationship with them?
No.
Repeat client? Relationship with them? Personal relationship. Have a personal relationship. So is your wife your husband? Right? So the question there would be no or yes, whatever it might be, right? To your knowledge, does the client have a criminal history regarding illegal drug trafficking, bribery, fraud, forgery, murder, robbery, counterfeit? I would suspect that most of you guys are going to say no, right? To your knowledge, is there concern about money laundering and terrorists? Do you think your client's a terrorist or money laundering? Does your client live within 10 kilometers of an international border or 5 kilometers from an international airport? So if you were selling something in Brampton or Mississauga...
Downtown Toronto even? Pearson? Or
Doesn't apply to us here in Scarborough.
Porter?
we're
Good.
talking about your client.
This is your client.
Does your client live within 10 kilometers of the border
That one's
or
very
the,
possible.
The airport?
or the airport, right?
What about Billy Bishop?
Yep. It's an airport.
That's an airport, yeah.
Yep.
That's an international airport. You go to Boston, yeah.
Florida.
Is your client a domestic PEP or a family member, close associate? What is a PEP? PEP, politically exposed person. Is the guy in a mayor? Is the guy elected position? Is the person a public servant, like elected? All right? Is your client subject to a ministerial directive, meaning North Korea, Russia? Your client's from Russia or from these?
Do they have associations with political?
All got to do with the real estate.
Okay, so I'm going to have you sit in with me when the Fintrac people come in.
Because I promise they don't care.
Are you aware of any connection to the client with a high-risk country? What would be a high-risk country?
Iran.
So the answer would be yes then, wouldn't it?
We're the number one.
So, all right, so nobody knows who said that, but when you guys fill this out, do you fill yes or no?
No, no,
Why would you say no?
because they are not there. Our clients are not part of that. Like my clients are Iranian, some of them, but they're not only away 30 kilometers away from the airports, which is not. They're not in politics whatsoever. So
It doesn't say do they live there, it says do they have a connection to the client. Are you aware of any connection to the client? Anyway, split yes or no. Okay. Has the client attempted to conceal their identity? No. Has your brokerage previously filed a suspicious transaction? No. Does the transaction seem unusual? No. Does the transaction involve a third party? No. So anyway, all these questions there, and then you have to add them all up, and then they have your little scorecard here. Just so on this side you circle yes or no, and then at the bottom here you have the scorecard. So you just go with the same questions and you just circle yes or no, and then you get a number. And if the number is less than 10, then they're not high risk and there's no further activity. But
And if they are,
it has to be filled out.
yeah.
And I've had people come to me and say, "Well, I don't fill it out. Why not? Because I don't understand it." So just read it, right? So one line by line, right?
Yeah.
So
So 2 more things too. If you're doing work with a corporation, there's a separate Fintrac form for companies. You have to get articles of incorporation to prove that they are signing on behalf of the company and they are who they say they are. So it's a whole different Fintrac form for companies. And then the receipt of funds form is confusing because it does have Fintrac components on it. That's because they want you to Fintrac the person giving the deposit if they're different than the person you originally identified as part of your transaction. So if mom or uncle or sister or somebody gave a deposit part of that transaction, you did not Fintrac them as part of your original, you would Fintrac them on your receipt of funds form.
Anyway, so what's going? I'm going to give them a list of all these things. They're going to come back to me saying, okay, we want to check out these 50 units, and then we'll have to audit it. But if you guys can audit before us, it'll save us some time.
Yeah, and you might have, like, I do an audit every 2 years, so you might have received an email from me during my last audit last year that said, hey, you might have been missing this form, please send it back. So it's going to be similar to that. But yeah, do your own self-audit now. I will share a story that another brokerage has just gone through this, and they were fined a very, very hefty fine that would be equivalent to someone's entire year's salary. It was very serious.
Just tell them how much.
It's $150,000 fine that they're not able to appeal. And this is a result of an online lead. So if you're working with online people that you have not worked with before, they're brand new, they seem a little bit sketchy, do your Fintrac, but pay attention to your gut and your cues. Like if somebody's reaching out to you and you don't know them and they're not even in your service area, they're asking you to service them, maybe it's a church or a motel or something a little bit outside of your typical scope of business, pay attention to those cues. We do have an obligation to report that as suspicious, but make sure you do your Fintrac. And if you do your Fintrac and everything checks out, then you proceed, right? And I don't want to scare you, but I also do want to scare you because it is quite a scary thing. So you guys should take it seriously as well.
These guys at Fintrac, they're almost like police officers or CMP or something.
Oh yeah.
Because as far as they're concerned, everybody's guilty until you prove otherwise.
The letter is a Service Canada.
So we might laugh and say, hey, none of my clients are this, none of my clients are that, but Fintrac guys, they take it extremely seriously.
Yep.
And isn't that what the governments and that were complaining about Canada not being too lax on terrorists and too lax on all this type of stuff? That's what they're talking about.
The government has.
The thing that confuses me, not to diffuse it, confuses me is we have to Fintrac them, and then they go to their lawyer. The lawyer has to Fintrac them. Mm-hmm. They go to their bank. The bank has to Fintrac them.
Yeah. Yeah, we all do.
And there's no central database for everybody, so everybody has their own file. So it's a lot of noise for whatever.
Yeah. Do you have a question, Hoda, or you want to talk after? Or?
We don't do Fintrac for lease.
You don't have to for lease. We do recommend it just for your security, especially if it's not a past client or you don't know them. It's not obligated for rentals, but if you're dealing with strangers on online lead gen, I don't think it hurts to identify them for your own records and safety, but it's not a legal requirement.
Here's the reason why you want to Fintrac a lease. You know you don't have to. let's say they run out on their rent, and your seller. Let's say you represent your seller, and let's say you double end it for that, make it worse. And then the tenant turns to be a bad tenant. Then your seller says, I'm going to sue that tenant. You're going to say, okay, great, let's sue him. What do you have?
We don't.
You have his name. You don't have his driver's license. You don't have any ID. You don't know. Or you don't know if he can give you the right name.
Mm-hmm. So just practice.
Right? So I would just Fintrac everybody, just for your own,
So
own.
if we do the Fintrac for lease, we're going to submit it to you guys? Or
You can if you want
give
to.
it to me, and we'll keep it. Yeah.
You also do need receipt of funds for a lease, though, too. A lot of people get that confused. Any exchange of money still requires a receipt of funds. Yep.
So come on Wednesday. We got our fellas going to do a little webinar there. It's going to be available online as well.
It's going to be available online. That's going to be one. I haven't seen that one myself, so I can't vouch for it until I do it, but I'm also going to recommend the CREA course as well. And I'm going to send a link to that as well. I'm going to recommend you do both or at least one of them. One of them you'll have to do.
I just did my RECO update course, and there's a Fintrac as being an elective, and it was blanked out. Is yours blanked out too? So we can't rely on RECO to help us.
Yeah. No, this is just RECO's interpretation.
So you got to go back to CREA.
Yeah, CREA has one. It's, by the way, CREA and Fintrac. This is just CREA's interpretation of Fintrac, right? So it's, yeah. So if you weren't busy enough doing that, Caitlin is getting ready for her back to school program. So she's going to be sending out an email, I believe. It's sort of starting this Wednesday with the Fintrac session, but then she's going to do a full 6-week program of her own series, and that's going to start October 8th. So that will be a really good session. It's free. She sells this program outside to other agents across Canada who actually pay to be part of this program. So she's doing it for you guys for free. So please attend, even if you think you're experienced. It's really good information, and especially if you're new, not servicing clients, you're bored, you need an excuse to get into work and do something, I would do every single session. But yeah, we'll kick it off with some compliance.
One of my tenants was just sent a notice from the builder. The client had purchased the unit from the builder, and I guess they forfeited on payments, and the builder's taking back that unit. And they've been staying there for 3-4 months, and now they've been sent a message that you have until the end of this month to vacate the property.
Yeah,
Is
so
that legal?
So just for those online, this is for pre-construction condos that were probably during occupancy phase, rented them out. And if you notice, a lot of builders were having people sign month-to-month agreements because they didn't want this to happen, which is what's happening where the client cannot close on the unit. There's tenants in it. These tenants now become tenants of the builder who doesn't want tenants. They want to sell these units. Now there's tenants in and they've gotten notice from a builder. I don't know under LTV if they have rights to give them notice like that. We have to call LTV and find out because they probably have a tenancy agreement, but this unit is not going to be owned by that owner anymore. It's going to be owned, but the builder's inherited a tenant is the way I see it.
Well, it makes a
Same like a
difference.
bank.
Same like a bank.
The property was
Yeah.
power sale and you.
That's right. Yeah.
Bank just can't kick you out. but-
Yeah, so the builder's assuming the tenant, but we'll have to check with LTV if they have rights
I
to.
don't know for sure, but pre-construction agreements, do they say they're not allowed to rent it out without their approval?
A lot of agreements will address it, yeah.
So there's a legal problem going on there
Yeah,
too.
yeah, we got to check the contract.
But
we
the
gotta check
tenant is
lease
still there,
agreement.
so I don't know if the tenant is there, so I'm not sure if, I don't know how that works.
Yeah, yeah. But that's why builders were having you do month-to-month agreements because they didn't want to inherit tenants. And a lot of you wouldn't let them lease it until the building actually registered as well for that reason.
Would it be any difference month to month or yearly?
Not technically, it's just their way to try to protect themselves. It's the same thing under LTVs.
ChatGPT is saying occupancy phase units are not subject to LTV.
Not subject to LTV during occupancy phase.
So I'm thinking like the owner
Yeah.
does, like the guy that rented it out doesn't own it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So they didn't have
Builder
a.
is offering them to sign a new full year lease.
Oh,
But she
okay.
might not necessarily want.
That's what.
Okay, so the builder's they're going to absorb them as a tenant.
The tenant doesn't.
Yeah.
So the legal argument might be that they rented it from somebody who doesn't own it, so they rented it out illegally.
That could be. But it sounds like the builder's trying to work something out, so they're just trying to do it properly under legal terms. Lots of fuss we have to take care of and think about as real estate agents, right? It's not an easy thing that we do. People think we're overpaid, but look what we're dealing with. Fintrac legal compliance, pre-construction rules.
See, the lawyer said that a couple of weeks ago. He said that you can't assign it, like you cannot assign it. What did he say now? They want to see who you assign it to, because they don't want you to assign it to a straw buyer. So this,
That's why they want to approve
so
it.
a guy's got $1 million property he bought, and today it's worth $800,000. So he assigns it to some guy he finds off the street. The guy's got no assets, gives him a couple of bucks, and then so now all of a sudden it's in his name. So now the builder goes to suit this guy, not that guy, because this guy's got no assets. You follow me, Tom?
Yeah.
So it's all different. I didn't even thought about that, but they figured that out. So they're not going to let you assign it to anybody.
That's right. Without approval, and that's why they want to approve it.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Any questions from online or any deals anyone's done that's been really creative and interesting that you want to share? Any like tales from the streets? Because I know deals are quite complicated right now. They're not as easy as used to be. I'm seeing a lot of conditions on the sale of properties.
Aaron wants to know if we can still use the Fintrac. Right?
Yes, of course, you can use Fintrac app. Just be careful with the app because there's one component of the app I just learned last week that doesn't have that 10-point checklist. You have to do the AML component of FinTracker. I'll play with it myself, but make sure there's two components in FinTracker. One is like a basic client information ID, but you need to also do the 10-point summary, and you have to do that yourself. Your client can't answer those questions. So make sure you're doing both parts, AML and the client information. If you're using FinTracker, I will say some brokerages are making FinTracker mandatory to submit Fintrac. So depending on how our audit goes, we may look into doing the same thing. So if you want to try using the app now and getting into it, you can, because the nice thing about that is you do your Fintrac, your client can put some of the information in for you, and then it gets sent right to our deal admin for compliance tracking as well. So we're not there yet, but yes, please go ahead and use the app. Make sure you're using the AML component checklist part of it though as well.
And the FinTracker app is part of your Treb dues. You're already paying for it.
It's free.
It's free. You're already paying for it.
So we actually talked to Trev about this because they were promoting this as a service to us as being free. The free part, though, is actually only the client identification part. The AML part is a different component. I need to go check on the pricing for that because that part might not be free and that is not 100% compliance. So our brokerage that got audited got in trouble for only using half of the app in the way it's supposed to be used. So we have to be very careful. You have to be careful with CREA, ORIA, these apps, all these third parties, because these are all interpretations of Fintrac. These are not Fintrac's tools. These are just interpretations and services, right?
So I'm just trying to think how that would happen. So somebody's taking a picture. So FinTracker, those people don't know. So you take a picture of their driver's license, and it populates the form.
Yeah, it grabs the name and the address and the expiry
But if
date.
you're not paying attention and you think you've done your job,
Yeah.
that's it. But there's a second component where you got to fill out that risk assessment.
You have to put in their
That's probably what they're
occupation.
not doing. So
Exactly.
so it's okay to copy and paste, but you still have to go in there and fill out the risk
So
assessment.
for that reason, I'd rather personally just use a form for me and my learn. That's just easier for me to do. I don't want to have to rely on an app, especially when you get into glitches and tech and versions of your phone and stuff. That to me is more messy. But if it helps get us on track to doing it, then it's something to look
The
into.
argument I've had in the past is that, well, nobody wants to give me their ID. Nobody wants to do this. And I'm thinking, like, you can't rent a car without giving your ID. You can't
I know.
rent a public
Well, it's-
storage space without having
It's
some
one of the
ID.
questions. Did they try to conceal their identity? Well, kind of. If they're not giving you ID, you're going to answer yes. It's going to flag it already. But you have to explain to people this is part of the. Yeah, like you said, you can't buy a car. You can't buy a house. It's a house you're buying or renting. It's not a.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
okay.
didn't want to give a SIN number where he was filling the application for rent.
We don't want a SIN number anyways. No.
That's okay. That one's optional. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Any questions online or anything?
But then in
Let's go
banks,
Blue Jays.
property, like power sales, there's a lot of power sales now, right?
They're increasing, but there's only 400 total.
It's not as many as you
Like
think.
banks are, eh?
I don't feel like there's as many as you think.
There's 400 total right now out of the 30,000.
It's like less than 1%.
But I never see CMHC listed.
No, it's going to be a
No,
bank.
they'll be the Bank of Montreal, someone's lawyer in trust,
CMHC does show up.
CMHC does.
CMHC does show up from time to time.
but not very
Just
often.
'cause-
Yeah.
and where they get involved is if they have a high ratio mortgage that they have to take over.
And they cannot sell it in 3 times bank.
All right.
Bank has to sell.
The bank got their money anyways through the insurance. Now CMHC has to sell it. So CMHC, what they'll do, I haven't seen one for a long time. They'll go out for bids, and people go out for bids to bid on the CMHC stuff. But normally it's in rural Canada. Usually it's up in like the $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 properties in the woods someplace. They're really not.
They usually select the agent.
Well, the agents bid on it, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to do that, you go CMHC sales. If you want to find out what they're doing there, you could do that. Easy.
Cool. So it's the end of the month. We'll be processing a lot
I
of
think the
leases.
market's fine. I think the market's great. Don't
Yeah.
everybody get all depressed here. What the hell is the market? The market's fine. So the resale market's good, and rates are down, and people are interested, and it's
The market's fine, and if you're not busy and you're looking for work, come into the office. I hate that I'm even saying that as a millennial, but I think you do need to come to the office because I promise, there's people working, there are people doing deals, there are people doing very well. So if you're feeling like you're not there, come into the office. We will help you.
I'm going to focus on the Jays for the next 30 minutes.
Or focus
Oh
on
yeah, we didn't
Jade.
mention. That's right. So did
Do
you
you
show
see
the picture
the
back
thing?
there?
Well, it's been on all day.
You should have just been wearing it.
Oh,
You should wear it.
Well, that's good news for GTA, right? People are happy.
Activity is about to go down.
Oh, well, that's not good news for me, but I guess if people are happy,
I'm happy.
will it bring people downtown, buy downtown condos?
They are already buying condos.
Okay, great.
Downtown is fire.
Okay, guys, have a good week. We will see you Wednesday. Talk soon.